Oh, and we back. What's up, solutionaries? Welcome to the Maj Toure Show. I am Maj Toure, your host. It feels great to be back to talk about this silly shit we got Brandon Johnson over in Chicago doing. So y'all know the routine. Hit the like button. Tell me where you from. We gonna talk about it. He defying Trump. He declaring Chicago a ice-free zone, which is hard to do. It get cold in Chicago. But we got Brandon Johnson talking about Trump ain't welcome. ICE ain't welcome. What's up, y'all? Let's chop it up. Let's talk about it. This tonight's show gonna go all over the place. All right, and it has to. It has to go all over the place because there's a lot going on, and this lot going on has a lot to do with immigration. Y'all know the routine. Come in, hit the like button, chop it up. Nate, tell me where you from, what city you from. You guys know we try to get 20 folks, 10 folks at the $20 level for the super chats. We fundraising to do actual work. When you talk to the Maj Toure Show, when you watch the Maj Toure Show, we're talking about things that are going to tie back into actual solutions. If it wasn't for solutions, I wouldn't be talking about none of this shit. I want to be very clear. We talk about these things, politics, pop culture, all of that other stuff. We have discussions about it because it makes sense. If we ain't tying it into solutions and challenging ourselves to get better, I don't really want to fucking talk about it. Don over there from Louisville, Kentucky, what's up? The pacifist over there from Queens. Big Rob, what's up? Black Gun Owners Magazine. I'm telling y'all. Pearson says, see what Maj got to say before lights out. Listen, everybody should be doing that. Every night should be the tuck in. We sit down. I'm Tucker Carlson. I'm gonna tuck you right in with some good information. Everybody should be tapping in again, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Guys, I'm gonna jump straight to it. Brandon Johnson is 1,000% a fucking goof troop right here. Now, I know some of y'all going to be like, well, Maj, you don't really rock with the government overreaching like that. Tonight's show, I'm going to explain to you why everybody's wrong. Everybody's wrong except solutionaries. If you're not a solutionary, you're fucking wrong on this. Okay? You're wrong. It's not even, it ain't me just saying it. It ain't me just saying it. It's me telling y'all, I'm explaining it to y'all the whole night tonight. We might go over tonight, who knows? Especially if we're getting some support. Guys, we got 26 days left. GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. Don't talk about the left. Don't talk about Trump. Don't talk about Brandon Johnson. All of these people, don't talk about them if you're not doing the work. All of these people are wrong. And I'm going to show you how they're wrong and how we get right. If you're not a solutionary on this topic, which means you're not breaking it down nuanced, you're fucking wrong. Brandon Johnson is wrong. The Trump administration is wrong. The motherfucking illegals here are wrong. Everybody's wrong if they not me. And I dare anybody to challenge to step up. But listen, y'all, let's play this video real quick. This is Chicago mayor. We need ICE out of our city. Let's play it. Tell me, y'all know in the chat, let me know if it's some fucking audio weird shit. I don't feel bad neither now. I listened to the stream, some of the stream with Kevin Hart and Kai and all of that, right? And Kai had audio issues. So if Kai got 500,000 motherfuckers watching him for hours at a time, all right, and he has some audio issues, I don't feel that bad. I'm new to the streaming show thing. I'm getting better at being an internet personality. I'm so used to being outside doing actual outside work. But I don't feel bad. But y'all let me know if y'all can hear it, if there's any audio issues. Let's listen.
Today, we are signing an executive order aimed at reining in this out-of-control administration. The order establishes ICE-free zones.
ICE.
That means that city property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids. And today, we are signing an executive order aimed at reining in this out-of-control administration.
Uncontrolled.
The order establishes ICE-free zones.
ICE-free zone.
That means that city property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids.
Brandon Johnson is right, actually, and wrong at the same damn time. I'm going to tell y'all, listen to me. He right and wrong. That broke clock is right twice a day. It's still a broke ass clock. Now, I know some of y'all going to get a little bit offended by that. Listen, if you get mad at what I'm saying, that mean I ain't talking. Listen, you got to pay attention. I ain't talking fast. You listening slow. Keep up. Brandon Johnson has been 1,000% horrible for the residents of the city of Chicago. He has brought no type of actual economic benefit. His town is in shambles. They went bankrupt. They had this big budget. He got the seat right after Beetlejuice was in there before him. They was destroying the city. It's a beautiful city. That's one of the best places that I love to go, especially in the summer. The last time I was in Chicago, I was there, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago, maybe two. I was there. I had lunch on top of the Trump Hotel. Y'all know that water, that little river they got that go out into, the water looks like this weird green, bluish color. I like downtown Chicago. I hit O-Block here and there every so often. I don't be in the places where there's a lot of fucking violence. I practice conflict resolution and de-escalation and avoidance. But this does not mean that I have really, really good, Rhonda Ezell beat 2 federal cases. Anybody that want to go in with me and help get us a gun range in the city limits of Chicago, you can do that now because of Rhonda Ezell beating them 2 federal, cases. My point in saying this all to y'all is Chicago's a beautiful place. This guy has absolutely made it a fucking shit show. And Beetlejuice before him. Let's be very clear. They did fucked up shit. And now he's talking about he's establishing ice-free zones. Brandon Johnson is wrong as fuck, but he's right this time for one specific reason. He's right for the wrong reasons. How he's right is he's in opposition to federal government overreach. I am in alignment with that. I am not a fucking federalist. America was founded, and I know, real quick, let me do a little bit of fucking housekeeping, guys. Let me know where y'all from. I see Jimenica in here. I see Selt. I see KP from Georgia. All right. I see Mad Boy back in here from Michigan. What's up, bro? Wild Selt from South Carolina. All right. Listen, I'm telling y'all. Share this all over the place. Brandon Johnson is right and wrong at the same time. And he's Big Rob in Jersey. He's right and wrong for the same time. Pearson, Minnesota. He's wrong because he's saying fuck the government for the wrong reasons. He's saying fuck the government not because he's about strengthening the city that he's the mayor of. It's not because he's done such an amazing job. It's not because the constituents 1,000% believe in him. No, he got the Democratic machine behind him. That's why. But he's saying somewhat the right things. And I know some of y'all going to jump. Listen, y'all can jump out here tonight. We're going in a little bit, maybe 10, 15 minutes. We're going to put the call-in line in. I want y'all to stand on if you disagree with me. Stand on that shit. Because this is, other than guns, being a dork, being a geek, and being right, those are my lanes. And you got to be a civics dork and a geek to be right and about this thing, and it turns into guns. Everything inevitably goes to guns, right? But if you want to call in and tell me how I'm wrong, you're welcome to. But I want to give y'all time to see this smorgasbord of information I got for y'all before y'all disagree. Again, Brandon Johnson is wrong, but he's right at the same time because a broke right. But he's a piece of shit. He didn't people in Chicago, the constituents down with this shit. Oh, Uncle Catfish, Lori Lightfoot. That's who that is. That's who that is. I forgot her name. She disappeared so fast. Democrat politicians get used. They jump in the spotlight. They get the spotlight for a little bit, but they don't got no fucking staying power. I don't even remember the vast majority of these motherfuckers. They come in, they try to destroy the Constitution and your human rights, and then they try to leave. Brandon Johnson, this is his moment to try to shine, to be in opposition to Trump, But inadvertently, he looked like he arguing for the 10th Amendment, states' rights. But he not. I doubt if he even really understand the 10th Amendment like that. Somebody in his staff probably do. But he talking about these ice-free zones. And when you're talking about the ice-free zone, I go, do the constituents want this? If the constituents want this, it's a question to be had. America was set up as the state is like damn near the state of Florida, Illinois, whatever. It's supposed to be its own like country. And things that are not enumerated in the Constitution are left up to each individual state. Again, guys, we got a civics class. I love this type of shit, right? So tonight we're going to go over how he's right and how everybody else, if they don't have this tape, if they don't have this position that I got, they're fucking wrong. They're not solutionary. If you take a position against what I'm on right now and it's going to be nuanced, you're fucking wrong. You're in about 20 minutes or so, you're welcome to call in. This is a call-in show. You're welcome to put your face on camera and get chopped the fuck up. Now, that's the reason why
today
he's right.
We are signing in.
Where he's wrong is all over the place. But this is where we on the right start to make Brandon Johnson look like a genius. Because we have these conversations all around the country talking about unlawful immigration. Unlawful immigration, no doubt. I am a libertarian. I would prefer the free movement of all humans on the planet. I prefer that. But I also know that rights got to be reciprocated. So if I can't go hang out in insert whatever country for an unlimited amount of time, as long as I respect the rules of their country and bring my tourist dollars, they don't allow me to do that, then that country shouldn't be allowed to fucking those citizens of those places. Sovereign individuals should not be able to come through here. There's a conversation to be made for what borders are, what necessitates a nation. There's a conversation for that. My preference is everyone should be able to maneuver about freely. But if that country says no, and then our country says no, and similar to Murray Rothbard towards the later years of his life, I understand that you cannot have open borders in a welfare state. And Democrats like Brandon Johnson, BJ, ironically, right? The irony of his nickname and his initials is not lost on me. BJ, do what you want with that, right? These Democrats will continue to erode national borders and highlight and get more welfare recipients because that's their goal. If more people wake up and get smart, then that means less people vote for Democrats. So they got to import them. You want to talk about human trafficking? They're importing millions upon millions of Americans to do their bidding. To say, hey, take this money, vote this way, da-da-da. You don't need no ID, da-da-da-da. You cannot have open borders in a fucking welfare state. I get it. I'm a libertarian. Rothbard is the libertarian, and he, towards the end of his life, landed there. I like to end or pick up where people ended their life when they got some more sense and life experience and all of that. So Brandon Johnson is a goofball, but he's saying these things, and then guys like Will Chamberlain and a whole host of Con Inc., non-logical, non-nuanced, non-free-thinking pundits all damn near started saying the same exact thing at the same exact time, just like when the left says the same, they all got the talking points in the script. And some of them follow me. Some of them I like. Some of them I don't like. The Hodge twins, they follow me. They tap dance into this federalist shit. And again, I'm not saying it from the perspective that they're wrong, not even constitutionally. Because the supremacy clause is a thing. And we're going to go over that tonight. But it's not what they're saying. Just like Brandon Johnson happens to be right here on accident, the right is saying kind of the right thing the wrong way, and they look like absolute morons. Because they all articulate in this point, and they're all saying the wrong thing, which is, oh, we should have martial law. We should suspend checks and balances. We should let Trump do whatever he wants to do. And this is the reason why, because we got these activist judges and these, like the one in Oregon, we got these so-called activist judges and Brandon Johnson. They're trying to stop the president from doing his job. Will Chamberlain right here says there's nothing wrong with Portland that couldn't be fixed by placing it under martial law. The right, I understand where they're coming from, and I'm talking about the pundit class. Okay? David Goncalves has a great point here. He said, and this is in reference to me saying Rothbard's position on this later in his life. His updated view in the 80s and 90s were recommended his essay, Nations by Consent. Everybody should check that out. Okay? Nations by Consent. If you don't have borders, you don't have a nation. Now, I'm somewhat of a hippie. I like the fact that all humans should be able to we are citizens of the world. I believe that. However, I'm not in alignment with this one world government bullshit. The UN agenda. Agenda 2030. I'm not in alignment with that. Spiritually, I believe we're on a planet and we should experience the world. However, you got to pay attention to what people do. Governments, more specifically. So Rothbard kind of cleans that up and articulates it very well. Y'all should check that out. But anyway, just like Brandon BJ is saying is right for the wrong reasons, all of the conservative Inc., Matt Walsh, Hodge twins, again, I respect the Hodge twins. I think they're comedians, so I give them a little bit more artistic, room. Matt Walsh's of the world, all of these guys all jumped out, got the same fucking talking points from this situation in Chicago and the federal judge over in Oregon that said no. Signed something saying no. Trump cannot galvanize National Guard troops from Cali to come into Oregon for Portland for this X, Y, and Z. She deemed it unconstitutional. Now, some of y'all are going to disagree with that. I totally get it. I totally understand why you're going to disagree with that. I'm not mad at you. I'm not disagreeing with you in the sense of why you initially would be in opposition to my take on this. But stay with me. Let's go over this a little bit more thoroughly. And from a tactical perspective to reach moderates, okay? And from you guys got to make sure we're not trying to recreate a monarchy out this joint perspective, okay? The monarchy that you're trying to avoid is the thing that your pundits are going, or influencers are attempting to use social media to influence you to accept, okay? This is what Will Chamberlain said. There's nothing wrong with Portland that couldn't be fixed by placing it under martial law. Conservatives are supposed to conserve the Constitution. Asking for the tread harder, daddy. Do more government overreach, daddy Trump. That's what that shit sound like. The most soft shit in the universe. A lot of people that are so-called MAGA are literally losing the plot. And it makes me seem like I'm defending Brandon Johnson. But this is what they say. Things like that, right? They all got their talking points. They all sound exactly the same. This is Douglas Mackey. It's time to seriously consider declaring martial law and arresting the governments of Oregon and Illinois. So because a judge, now this is in relation to what Oilfield Rando says, if retarded judges won't allow Trump to send any National Guard to Portland, then he should just send active duty military. So now we're asking for freestanding armies. The thing that these are people on the right. These are supposed to be conservatives. See, they tricked y'all. They made y'all think that conservative just means culturally conservative, meaning I go to church or I have a faith. You can't even say have a faith now, because what if I'm Muslim? If I'm Muslim, y'all want to act like I'm still wrong. Oh, America's a white Christian nation. I've seen the clips of like Charlie Kirk talking about when there were 13 colonies in the so early of the state constitutions, and those state constitutions, you had to identify as a faith. Yeah, when there were separate states before the Constitution, America was not founded. That's the reason why there's a separation of church and state. Okay? But people on the right that aren't studying, again, we got a civics class for this specific reason that goes over the history, what was happening, why they came to these decisions, what were the books and people and thought processes and pre-existing governmental documents and founding papers that came before them that they pulled from. That's the reason why you get to, a separation of church and state. When you look at the Magna Carta, which was what, 1400s, right? That put a limit on government. That said, nah, even with it being a monarchy, and they pulled from that and went, nah. We want to be able to worship the way we want. So we're not gonna make an official of the United States of America. But conservatives are supposed to notice, because that ties into American history. That's not culturally conservative. So cultural conservatives are ignoring limited government conservatism. So they say stuff like this. If retarded judges won't allow Trump to send any National Guard to Portland, then he should send active duty military, literally asking for freestanding armies that the founders of America literally were in opposition to. So much so that they said, everybody gets a gun. It was fucking Oprah. You get a gun, everybody gets a fucking gun. But these people now are ignoring those founding documents that they're supposed to conserve. Now, is there some nuance to it? Yes. Again, we're going to go over the supremacy clause tonight, because that matters. It's in the Constitution. It matters. But the supremacy clause does not give the federal government, the executive branch, a fucking blank check. It's not unlimited power. It's within certain parameters. So this guy says this, and then Douglas Mackey supports that by saying it's time to seriously consider declaring martial law and arresting the government of Oregon and Illinois. That's why tonight's show is going to be more specifically as it relates to ICE, immigration in Oregon. And that ties into a lot of the conservatives last week was bitching because Bad Bunny's going to perform at the Super Bowl. Y'all ain't even supposed to be fucking watching the Super Bowl. We 37 going on $38 trillion in debt to the Federal Reserve. The last thing you should be thinking about loudly is sports ball. And don't get me wrong, I like football. I love sports. But I also teach a civics class and have damn near single-handedly shifted the definition of what it means to be a Second Amendment supporter in America. So I kind of earned a football game here and there, but I'm not complaining about who's going to be there. But nonetheless, the right is saying the right things, but I got to give them wrong today. Because they all got on they jumped on the same propaganda dick at the same time. And it's disgusting. And none of them are explaining to normies why they not even give me a sign in the chat, y'all. How many people have heard right-leaning conservative pundits today talk about this after this federal judge in Oregon said what she says? Hey, we are not letting the National Guard come into Oregon. She writes that, boom. How many of y'all heard that? And with ICE, Brandon Johnson. How many of y'all heard the conservative pundits rail against it? And then I bet you none of y'all heard them explain the supremacy clause. They just said, they're getting in the way of Trump. They're not letting Trump do his thing, right? The same Trump that just handed the federal government over to Palantir. The same Trump that said, hey, there's no Epstein client list. Let's get over it. I got all of this for y'all tonight. But how many people in the chat heard any of those conservative pundits talk about the supremacy clause and what makes Trump what he's doing as it relates to, or explaining in nuance? How many of y'all heard any of those pundits talk about the supremacy clause or even mention the Constitution other than saying she's getting in the way of Trump and he's the president, he's the executive branch, he's the commander in chief. The commander in chief has a system of checks and balances on him by design. So, not one branch, the pyramid that it is, because a lot of them devils was pulling from ancient Kemet. Yeah, y'all thought I was just a high school dropout. No. They was over in ancient Kemet. That's why there's a African black ass pyramid on the back of your dollar. But nonetheless, then all they talking about, it's diversity isn't our strength. Never mind, e pluribus unum. Never mind that was the unofficial country's motto up until like the 30s, right? From many, one. They don't explain this shit because they're playing a game on you. And the pundits don't know enough. Brandon Tatum's goofy ass don't read. He don't study. They just collect the check. Half of these people is collecting a check from the Jewish 80 people, $7,000 per post. And the other side is just arguing that we got to own the left or whatever it is. Okay? They're not explaining this to you because they either A, stupid, or B, don't want to explain it because they get clickbait from arguing back and forth. Neither's perspective there or approach empowers the American people. Why is this important? Because if you explain to people the supremacy clause and explain its limits, you don't get chaos and back and forth. You get people making logical, evaluating decisions and going, we as the American people kind of fucked this over because we now have judges that are making decisions that could be looked at as activists, but isn't really. Now you start critically thinking as opposed to just going to your team and arguing against the other team. Okay? Tell me, LS says they don't explain it on either side. Somebody else tell me. Tell me if you heard any of these pundits explain why their position is right. Tell me if you heard Brandon Johnson, because the judge that wrote the decision wrote a reason for her decision why. Here's the reason why, under judicial view and interpretation, this is unconstitutional. She explained it, but none of the pundits are reading you her decision. They're not. Even though she literally wrote it. Okay? They not because they don't want to inform you. They don't want you to see that most people actually lie in the middle on this. Most Americans are actually moderate, even if they Democrat or Republican. The extremes are the fringe on either side of the same spectrum. When you explain something to someone, that's the reason why nurses talk to you and the doctor don't. The doctor pull up and be like, all right, after the nurse did their thing and came and explained to you, right? The doctor make you feel good and okay, this is going to be great. They confirm a little bit, but nurses explain what happens to you. Nurses should have been explaining what COVID-19 or coronavirus and the legitimate sections or cases of it. Nurses could have explained that across to the American people. But if the nurses would have explained that, they would have known, hey, we can't sell a bunch of jabs and we can't sell a bunch of protective PPE equipment, because people would have just been informed. They don't want you informed. They just want you arguing. They want the Tower of Babel. But let's move forward. So we got this right of center argument there, right? Then let's keep scrolling down. Let's go to this here. Now, we're going to jump back to Chicago real quick. Again, tonight's show, we're going to jump between Chicago, Illinois, and Portland, Oregon, because these are hotbeds of unlawful migration. Okay? Breaking. Evidence emerges confirming Chicago police were ordered not to assist federal agents that were cornered and surrounded by rioter vehicles. A subsequent shooting occurred after a rioter brandished an automatic weapon during the blockade. Now, let's be very clear. It is not the local law enforcement's obligation. Let's take it all the way back. Law enforcement on any level, from the sheriff from the city police to a federal agent, they have no legal obligation to protect Americans. None. None at all. None. You have literally, they can see you getting stabbed by Winnie the Pooh on the corner of your block. That police officer, or all the way up to federal agent, has no obligation to protect you. So now, when a Democrat city with a Democrat mayor says, we're not cool with these ICE things, they are not obligated to help federal agents. Why are the right advocating for they should jump out there and defend those federal agents? They literally have no obligation to defend any life. This is a Supreme Court decision that has been upheld several times. I just posted a carousel on my Instagram page. Follow me on IG, Big Daddy 2Ray. The second or third slide gives that case law. So now the Democrats are going, we don't, the local law enforcement respond to the mayor, the police chief, and the police chief is beholden to the mayor. The mayor's a Democrat, Brandon Johnson. So now the right is mad that the locally political people say, no, we're not helping them. They're not as loud. They tell you to back the blue. They're not as loud in telling you how, hey, why don't the police have a legal or moral obligation to protect me as an American sovereign being? They want you, the police, you in the middle of this political disagreement. It's clear that Brandon Johnson and the whole political class in Illinois do not care for Donald Trump. But now the people on the right are going, I'm upset that they didn't help ICE when clearly we told you we don't want you here. They're exercising their ability. Listen, let me tell y'all something. No one owes you their support. The only thing that is owed to you is non-aggression. I want to say this to you again. Don't owe you their support. Don't owe it to you. Should they? Could they? Maybe. No one owes you their support. They only owe you as a human. You are only owed non-aggression. I don't have to help you. My super rich friends aren't knocking over my door to say, here, Maj, here's the remaining $45,000 to buy the Solutionary Center. They don't owe me that. The only thing that I ask, if they want to, great, do it. But the only thing that they owe me is non-aggression. That's it. So now we got the right being mad that it's political. They don't rock with you. That city and that state is governed by people that are the other side that you've been shitting on for however long. Now you expect them to give the order to tell your federal agents that they disagree with to support you. Why would they? You spent, instead of building coalitions, instead of figuring out the moderate position, you got on there and when y'all were up, y'all made fun of, yeah, the Dems, we own the libs. Now you expect them to support you in a blue city. Why should they? They say, no, we'll file paperwork and we'll say, no, we don't want them here. You don't like it? Take it to court. So they give the stand down order. Now people on the right are upset, but yet and still when leftist cities were saying stand down, in other areas you didn't put up this saying, you're advocating and being mad that leftists said stand down to federal authorities when they said we don't want you here. You're our political rivals. I didn't see the right give nowhere near the same level of passion or care when those same leftist cities, when the people in Philadelphia, in Chicago, the law enforcement was told the same thing, stand down. When they rioting for George Floyd, stand down. They made fun of it. They made fun of those leftist cities, but they didn't get their panties in a bunch. See, the contradictions is what's killing us on the right. And when I show up and say, you're wrong, because you're being contradictory and you're not being intellectually consistent. So you're wrong. Then Maj's going to be the bad guy. Everybody here is wrong. Brandon Johnson is wrong. The Trump administration is wrong, even though possibly constitutionally in alignment, right? Wrong for their tactics, including the illegal immigrants all over Chicago. That building that ICE raided was ran over allegedly by Venezuelans. Everybody wrong. If you don't have a nuanced approach, you fucking wrong. I know more than you, period. Solutionaries know more than the general public because we're looking at what does the Constitution say, what is the free market solution, and what is the limited government solution. Not my team said this, NPC. You now have, again, people on the right arguing that nobody should be talking about the Epstein list. You guys are making the left look like they're constitutionalists because you just want to own the libs. But let's continue again. They confirm, yeah, we're not helping the federal agent. Cool, right? Then here's more of this. Here's more of this. The Marines are available. This is a right-leaning page. The Marines are available. The level of violence just depends on how much you feed them the week prior. Advocating for the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, to drop off armed forces in cities. Now, here's the big question, because I know some of y'all going to be like, well, Maj, it is a little rough over there. It is this. It is that. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Let's say it's that. Let's say it's a little rough. Let's say it's this. Let's say it's that. I'm not mad at you for saying that. But as solutionaries, we have a standard. If we are arguing that it's so bad in Portland, and I like Portland. One of my favorite shows is Portlandia. If you haven't checked it out, you should check it out. Okay? Here's the argument. Bookworm got a good point. I'm going to make this point, and then I'll go to Bookworm's point. If we're saying that the Marines need to be sent because it's so bad, right? It's so bad, right? Did they riot or did they rebel? Because these guys are talking about the Insurrection Act, the this act, the that act. I'm trying to find something real quick. They're saying these things about particular acts, right? So let's go to Portland. Again, Portland and Illinois. They blame Chicago. Again, every time I'm in Chicago, I'm in downtown Chicago. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. But Portland and Chicago, you guys are advocating for sending in federal troops, whether that's National Guard, sidebar, National Guard has they are governed by the governor of whatever state. And when they are federalized, then for federal actions, then they're under the helm of the executive branch. Little tip that a lot of people don't know. But you guys are saying that we need to send the Insurrection Act, the Supremacy Clause. It's bad in there. We need to send them in there because then you got to ask this question. Is Portland being invaded by external forces? Or did it rebel? Did the state of Portland, the city of Portland, or the state of Oregon openly rebel? Did it try to secede? As we had a whole Revolutionary War about that, right? Excuse me, a Civil War about that. Did Oregon rebel? Did Oregon secede? What, has it been invaded by China? If no, then those Insurrection Act, that shit does not count. There's different acts, right? But that one don't apply. Now, if we say a few dozen moronic protesters is a rebellion, then we on the right have to also say that January 6th was a damn insurrection. See, this is the problem with consistency and standards for most of you. This is why I'm comfortable saying solutionaries that work out, that study, that shoot, that get spiritual, that drink water, that work out, that track their macros. You are matching a standard. When you are sticking to the standard of we limit the government, we want free market enterprise solutions, you become better. I'm choosing my words very directly. You become better than the general public because you're better, smarter, stronger, and a better shooter. You understand American history. You are maintaining a standard. You wake up at a certain time. You read this amount of pages. You eat this amount of food. That creates consistency. The general public on the right and the left do not have consistency. So, you guys on the right, again, you're right in what you're saying technically on a lot of these issues, but you're saying it the wrong way. You're saying it low-key to eradicate the system of checks and balances, which is what creates a monarchy. This is why the argument between the anti-federalists and the federalists was a thing since the formation of America, since the First Continental Congress, since the Second Continental Congress, since 1791. Okay? If we say a few dozen moronic protesters is a rebellion, then we have to say that January 6th was an insurrection. Are we going to be intellectually consistent or no? So when you jump up there and you say all of these things, now real quick, guys, when you say these things about the National Guard and they should send the Marines in, and I get it, a lot of y'all just say shit on the internet, and that's the problem too. Y'all just be talking shit on the internet. Failing to inform the people. This is the most amazing teachable moment that the right could have had on so many different levels. You can get people involved in local politics because saying a judge is a activist judge. Did y'all know that judge, the judge was appointed in 2019 by Donald Trump, was confirmed in 2019 by Donald Trump's Senate. But you got goofballs like Matt Walsh saying, oh, we should just ignore, the Trump administration should just ignore what this judge in Oregon says, some random judge. You don't become a federal judge randomly. So this is an opportunity to explain. How many people in the chat me know, let me know. How many people in here know how a federal judge becomes a federal judge? If you don't know, say I don't know. Don't Google it just now, just to sound smart. Just in all seriousness. And I'm saying this to y'all for a reason. How many people in here know how a federal judge gets the job? Jimenica says she does. Life Lesson says I don't know. Give me a few more energy in the chat. Also, guys, hit the like button, support the work. GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. We talk tonight, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. I give you all this information so we can put it out to the world, but we also at the same time got to support the Second Amendment work. So GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. Let's get 10 people to donate $20 there as well. Support the actual work. Nathan Poinsett says, D-Simp says don't know. Quentin says he do. CJ says nope. The Pacifist said I don't know. Rad1 Cali says I don't know. Nathan says I don't know. Right? Okay, fair. Let me be clear. The president appoints a federal judge. This judge that these people on the right are saying is a crazy liberal judge is a Republican that was appointed by Trump in 2019. That's how federal judges get appointed. Now, why does that matter? And how could this be a teachable moment if we on the right want to actually teach? Because remember, I said to y'all earlier, most of America's moderate. When you go outside, motherfucking black and white people, all of these pundits, the Matt Walshes and whoever, they try to make it seem like it's the super duper white, black, helter-skelter, war on whites. And then there's black people on the side are like, oh, the black people are totally under attack by whites. Then you go outside and you go watch a fucking Eagles game and black and white people is hanging out at Chicky and Pete's having a great fucking time. Most of America's moderate. So us on the right could have used this situation as a teachable moment like we doing tonight. Like Bookworm just says, Bookworm knows how a federal judge gets appointed because they took the civics class. You feel me? We have a civics class. $20. It comes right to you. It's like buying a movie on Amazon. The videos and the modules come right to you. You have them forever. The curriculum comes right to you. You have it forever. Okay? $20. These are teachable moments that we fail in, which is why I got to say Brandon Johnson is wrong and all these goofballs on the right are wrong. Because you're not doing this to unify and empower America. You're doing it to own the other half of America. And that's stupid. Because all you do then is give more power to government. We are literally watching people on the right advocate for martial fucking law. The same people just said when Biden was in 2020, you ain't going to defend. Fuck that. I ain't doing what the government tell me. My freedoms. Now you tread harder, daddy. Which one is it? A lack of standard adherence and a lack of intellectual consistency. But let's continue. I want to go back to that judge in a second. But this conversation is about unlawful immigration, Chicago, Illinois, Portland, Oregon, sending out the troops. Now, most people don't know this either. The National Guard operates under a dual command structure. Sidebar, this is Maj 2 Ray's page. I was putting this information out all this morning. Right? Why? because we got to turn everything into a teachable moment. Not to argue against the other side. There's people that follow you as a solutionary. There are people that follow you that when they see you got solid talking points and you're trying to strengthen America as opposed to tear down other Americans, they get stronger. So all day today, I've been sharing this information. The National Guard operates under a dual command structure. National Guard units are under the command of state governors. So in Illinois, where Pritzker is the governor, and he says, no, thank you, President Trump. Now, the federal executive branch can say, well, I'm withholding federal funds. And that's his right to do so as well. But the governor controls the National Guard. They activate them for state-level missions like disaster response or civil unrest. When federalized, typically by presidential order, they fall under federal command, often for national defense or federal missions. Federal. Dual role is outlined in the Constitution and federal law, Title 10 and Title 32 of the U.S. Code. Governors usually control state missions, while the federal government takes over for national ones. So even as the president saying, I'm going to invoke the supremacy clause to send National Guard troops from another state into a state, I'm going to send them from Cali. Never mind the fact that Governor Newsom doesn't fuck with you, who's another Democrat governor in California. So Trump is saying, I'm going to send Cali National Guard to Oregon, to Illinois, to shut it down, to defend, since those places aren't doing XYZ. That is overreaching government unless it fits certain criteria. Okay? Now, if you're asking for the National Guard of a specific state to do it, you need to take that National Guard out of that state to handle national shit when it's federalized. Not, I'm going to use your state's National Guard because I want to show you how beat my chest I am. But the general public doesn't know that because a lot of you motherfuckers just won't take a goddamn civics class. Take the class. Now, do you live in one of those areas? Serious question. I actually do. And in Portland, it's one block of mayhem. Literally one block. This is from somebody. He could be lying. He got letters and numbers in his joint. He could be lying. But let's go with this argument for a moment. I actually do, and in Portland, it's one block of mayhem. Every time I've been to Portland, it'd be like the one weird area, just like in Philly. There's that one drug area up fucking Frankfurt, Kensington, K&A, and the rest of Philly's fucking beautiful. North Philly is a little rough, but the drug shit is not all of Philly. Okay? I be in downtown eating food all the time. Love it down there. I go jump rope, do the Rocky steps, stop it. Okay? I actually do, and in Portland is one block of mayhem. Trump and Elon have y'all so stupid you're begging for the feds to roll in our streets, and it's not even your street. And now y'all are going after judges. Unreal. The right is doing the bidding of the New World Order. It's the wildest shit to watch. I am here defending Brandon Johnson slightly. You got to be doing a bad job for Brandon Johnson to look good. Okay? Now, this is where they try to pull it up from. The Insurrection Act of 1807 is codified in 10 U.S. Code 251, 255. The authority to make the finding that an insurrection has occurred and thus to justify the deployment of federal military forces or the federalization of the National Guard rests solely with the President of the United States. They should be explaining this way. But they can't explain it this way because President Trump has to say, this is the actual insurrection that's happening. Like the Battle of Athens. How many people? Chat, let me know. See, y'all, this is my shit. I read a lot. Sidebar, this is my book for the month. The Common Law by Oliver Wendell Holmes. If you're in a Solutionary University, we got a book of the month. Right? So anyway, givesendgo.com/solutionary. Donate, exactly, super weapons. Donate, support the work. Donate at the $99 level or more, you get access to a whole bunch of stuff. The link is scrolling underneath us on the ticker. The Battle of Athens. That was an insurrection. What the southern states did to revolt from the northern states, that was an insurrection. They wanted to secede. Lincoln wanted more overreaching federal government. Lincoln was not the good guy that just cared about the Negroes. No. He's literally had been saying, if I could keep the Union together without giving these niggers no freedom, I would. That's a paraphrase, right? But they're talking about the Insurrection Act and all of these different acts to justify why they think Trump should just have carte blanche and ignore the system of checks and balances. If you articulate it this way, to be consistent, you have to say, because the president gets to make that, but judges, federal judges per state can go absolutely not, especially if it's in alignment with their state constitution and they go no, and their governor happens to be in opposition, they blue instead of red. 10th Amendment, states' rights, all that stuff goes in. But in order to explain the Insurrection Act and say, I'm doing this under the Insurrection Act, okay, we got to show what the insurrection is. So if you say, oh, it's that one block of people in Portland, Oregon. So you mean to tell me you're trying to send a National Guard into all of Oregon for a block in Portland? So you mean to tell me that this warrants that? And if you do that, then you low-key are saying that the insurrection that happened at January the 6th is an insurrection. Now, let me be clear. I don't think it was an insurrection. I think it was mostly motherfuckers just walking through, a whole bunch of federal agents, walking people through guided velvet rope tours of the people's house. That's for the most part what happened. And there was some rowdy white dudes that had too much Bud Light. That's what I think happened. I can't call that an insurrection. But if you call what's happening in Portland and in Chicago an insurrection or an invasion, you have to call January 6ers. They were doing an insurrection. See, that's why they can't fully explain it. Because they're trying to use it and use you on the right to just push for things that when Trump is gone, and more than likely the president's going to be Gavin Newsom. I don't see anybody on the right that can beat Gavin Newsom, unless it's Thomas Massey. And the last time I talked to him last week, he had zero interest in running for the presidency of the United States. Maybe Rand Paul, but nonetheless, it's going to be more than likely Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom gets in, and then we say, yep, first thing he's going to do is do 300 executive orders to overturn what the Trump administration did. Why? Because the Trump administration has signed over 200 executive orders and actions, which is supposed to be for emergencies and done very sparingly. So then the next president comes in and says, this is the rule. Then you just get rule by decree every 4 years. Okay? So they're using the right to advocate for more government overreach and eroding the system of checks and balances. And a lot of your pundits are falling for it. And they're not explaining to the people why this might be here. And explaining there is some sort of constitutional precedence. However, here are the limitations for it. They're not being nurses. They pretending like they doctors, and they're not. Okay? This next person here. Inferior Article 3 judges don't have the constitutional ability to usurp the president or his powers. These far-left, low IQ justices have been consistently overturned by SCOTUS because they don't follow the law. This one will be overturned. Stop, first and foremost. Again, these people just say shit on the internet. The judge in question is a Republican that Trump actually, what's the word? Voted, what's the word? I'm drawing a blank. Y'all get my point. Appointed. Trump appointed her in 2019. Now she a leftist. Now, you know what they say after that? They go, oh, well, Trump doesn't have good assessment and good picks. What? His whole brand was based on I'm a leader. I'm a good person. I evaluate things right. And if it's not the right person for the job, I fire them. You made a whole career off of you're fired. Now all of a sudden we want to say, well, he's not that good at picking picks. Or maybe he's compromised and he's not fucking doing the thing that he initially said. This isn't rocket science. But now we want to come up, instead of maintaining the standard of limited government as well as systems of checks and balances, we want to give him a play. We want to say, oh no, it's just trust the process. Hillary been arrested? Let's speed up. Fauci been arrested? No? That's interesting. Remember when Trump was head to head with Hillary? And she was like, it's a good thing that someone with the temperament of President Donald Trump isn't in office. And he said, because you'd be fired, you'd be in jail. And everybody, oh, is Hillary locked up? No Epstein list. This is a shit show. Stop it. But people like this lady right here, based Savannah, says these far left, low IQ judges. If you're saying that she's far left, you're wrong. If you're saying she's low IQ, you have to admit that Trump picked her. Which one is it? Now, this is where she's right. This will be overturned. This will be. And this is why it's important to actually talk from a perspective that makes sense. Why is this important to make sense? Because this will be overturned. This judge's perspective will be overturned. Again, guys, the right is right here somewhat. How they're articulating it is what makes it wrong. But a lawyer that gets $1 million to argue against this judge's thing, because that federal judge can be overturned at the SCOTUS level. It can be. Federal judge. Okay? SCOTUS is pretty conservative. Pretty. You appeal it, it goes up, you fight it out in the SCOTUS. I think, what's Trump's numbers right now in the Supreme Court decision? Like 21-0 or some wild number? Okay? The reason why it will be overturned is because an actual attorney that's going to talk about the Insurrection Act and or the Supremacy Clause and or X, Y, and Z, they're going to paint the picture to those judges why this decision is, or this desire by the executive branch is okay because it's constitutional. They'll argue it that way. This is the way that the right pundits should be arguing it. But they're not, because they're not interested in informing you. They're not interested in helping you understand that because a federal judge makes a ruling does not mean that that's the end all be all. Supreme Court is the end all be all as it relates to this type of legislation. They're advocating, instead of that extra step that's going on, they're advocating and telling you, burn the whole system down. You sound just like a leftist. You're saying, tell the executive branch, my guy, Trump, to move unilaterally and say, fuck the system, fuck the process. The same people that say, trust the process when it relates to Trump. And I say, listen, I'm on the right politically. I'm a libertarian, but I'm a solutionary first. If you're not a solutionary, you're fucking wrong. You're wrong. Now, they'll tell you trust the process as it relates to Trump. They will not tell you trust the process while there's an appeal, while that Trump is damn near 21-0 this term as it relates to taking it up to the Supreme and getting appeals and turned over. They tell you create a monarchy. It's irresponsible as fuck. These are the same people that say they're the party of law and order. Well, this is a part of the order. This is a part of the law. This is how this goes. They say the judges are breaking the law. The judge's job, a judge's job, is to look at the information in front of them. And I'm not saying it should be political. It should be very apolitical, non-political. A judge's job is to sit the information in front of them and go, does this thing hold up constitutionally? That's it. Now it's up to federal judges' takes are up to judicial interpretation. They write in their dissent or their agreement, here's what I said, here's what I said it from, here's the case law that supports it. I make that decision. My job is to do that. I am not breaking the law as a judge. Just because you don't like the outcome and you still have an appeal, you say, oh, these activist judges. Oh, now everybody's an activist. Everybody's woke now. If that same judge would have been like, yeah, Trump could do it, she wouldn't have been an activist now. They don't have a standard. They're like children, just super emotional, gay, even meat gobblers, cock smokers, no backbone, no spine. They like the dude that say, I don't ever rat. I'm never ratting on my homies, but a rat on the other team. You a rat. You a rat. You doing the thing. That's the thing that you're doing. Oh, I would never, unless it's not my team. Stop. So that happens. Governor Pritzker. Let's see what he says.
I refuse to let Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, and Gregory Bovino continue on this march toward autocracy. Their plan all along has been to cause chaos.
Listen to me, y'all. Listen to me. And maybe this is 8D chess. I want to be very clear. When you got Democrats, again, they saying the right thing for the wrong reason. But when Democrats are saying, y'all pushing authoritarianism, y'all pushing, it sounds like they libertarians out this joint. When you got, maybe that's the only saving grace that I got, that I could be like, man, Trump got these motherfuckers to argue against federalism. Maybe. I doubt it, but maybe.
And then they can use that chaos to consolidate Donald Trump's power. They think they can fool us all into thinking that the way to get out of this crisis that they created is to give them free rein. Well, that plan will only work if we let it. The state of Illinois is going to use every lever at our disposal to resist this power grab and get Noem's thugs the hell out of Chicago. I'm not afraid. I am not afraid, and I won't back down. I refuse to let Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, and Gregory Bovino continue on this march toward autocracy.
I want to be very clear, yo. I refuse to let Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, da-da-da-da-da. This is political. It shouldn't be political. The unfortunate part is that now that it's being made political, this is why the founders of America did not want party systems. Because you wind up arguing against the other team instead of promoting what's good for America, making the Constitution and limiting government the standard. You understand? This is what makes it wrong. This is what makes it wrong. So now you got a leftist governor saying these types of things. They're right, but for the wrong reasons. Now, what makes them right? Because they're going to court with it. See, they're presenting legislation to stop a thing that they disagree with. Our pundits on the right are saying, fuck it, just ignore, just do an insurrection. You're actually asking for the president, the executive branch, to be a monarchy, do an insurrection, and send freestanding army troops into a country because as litigation is going back and forward, you're supposed to just say, fuck it. Your pundits are literally advocating for an insurrection into an authoritative monarchy. That is literally what these fucking weirdos are doing. Meanwhile, the left is going, nope, I'm just going to sue you. We're going to leave it up to the judges. Judges that in some instances in Illinois, Trump even appointed. This is literally them trusting the process. Literally. Meanwhile, the people on the right are going, fuck that, do martial law. It's a wild day when the organizations that say they're about law and order are advocating for what the general public or normie would call anarchy. Illinois sues Trump over National Guard deployment in Chicago. Come on, y'all. Come on. Now, this is her right here. Judge Karen Emmergut issued a new order just now blocking all National Guard from anywhere in the country protecting federal property in Oregon. Now, he worded this a certain way. Where the federal troops can be galvanized by the executive branch is when federal property is being destroyed. That's the area where they can do it. You're destroying federal property. We don't like it. We're sending National Guard troops and or whatever state guard troops to defend the federal property. They are 1,000% constitutional and righteous in that position. So he used the word property. That's what people on the right should be saying. They should be saying those folks are being deployed there to defend federal property because people that are protesters are destroying or potentially destroying federal buildings in their opposition to ICE. But they can't say that fully because they're sending ICE and the National Guard troops there to specifically go after unlawful immigrants, which also is within the federal government's purvey. So they're right. They're just approaching it wrong. But they doing it so wrong that they can't articulate how it's right what they doing because they doing it so wrong. Everybody, if you're not a solutionary, you fucking wrong. You're wrong. Will Chamberlain again. The blue states must be governed and they will be governed. This is not the first time in our nation's history that states decided to rebel against legitimate federal authority. Historically, they haven't done very well. Yet again, Goofy Will here. I don't even know if Will's a real person. Will here, because he got 500,000 followers or something like that, right? Will here is now advocating for civil war. Here we go again with this shit, civil war. Remember earlier the statement was, yo, we got to separate and we got to this and we, all of this shit comes back to the question of, is this even your town? I don't know where Will's from. Will is advocating for other men, able-bodied men, to go to an American city, town, state, and fight physically. Go to war with other Americans. A war that he is not A, probably anywhere the fuck near, or B, has no dog in the fight. He's not going to suit up. It's like when people be talking that shit to me, bro, stack up, come to the crib, get your top blown the fuck off or shut the fuck up. But everybody on the right on the internet got so many balls. I never see y'all in Chicago. Anytime I'm there, I'll be south side, I'll be downtown, I'll be north side, I'll be all over Chicago. I love Chicago. It's amazing. I want to go get deep dish pizza, which I think is fucking overrated, and I do. I go to Harold's. I go to O Block. I'll be at the Trump Tower. I'll be on the boat. Man, I got plenty enough time. I'll be on the fucking highway right by the water. I'll drive all the way up to Milwaukee if I feel like it. But I don't see none of these people being in any part of Chicago, being in any part of Portland, talking about you must be governed. They're not even involved on a local level. But they want to make all of these grandiose fucking statements. Meanwhile, did y'all see this? What did Trump say about Ghislaine Maxwell today?
Its term today, Mr. President.
Say it.
The Supreme Court is back and said that they rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance of getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're?
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
You know, I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
But she was convicted of child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I have to ask DOJ. I didn't know they rejected it. I didn't know she was even asking for it, frankly.
So, the Epstein list person that's responsible. Glazane. She's in jail. Today, nobody's talking about the fact that he's like, yeah, I might have to look into a pardon for her. The Epstein listed guy. So all of this is happening, da-da-da-da. Meanwhile, we 38 trillion in damn debt to the Federal Reserve. Come on, y'all. Come on. Come on. Yes, the president can deploy National Guard to suppress insurrections, rebellions, or enforce federal laws if a state is unable or unwilling to maintain order. Now you got to justify what was the order that was broken. Yes, the Insurrection Act is here. 10 U.S.C. 251 through 255. A state's government is unable or unwilling. Widespread riots or chaos. This is not happening. Widespread riots and chaos is not happening in Oregon and Portland. And it's not now. Do I think them Antifa motherfuckers is whatever? Cool. If local law enforcement don't want to do it, this is why there's a system of checks and balances. We need you to keep us out of international wars, sir. The president has 3 jobs: command the armed forces, uphold the Constitution, defend the borders from war. Y'all could be explaining this a lot better instead of just going, yeah, let's make it a monarchy. But you can't explain it that way because you have to prove why it's there. Why? Send a National Guard in 2020. I'm telling y'all, pay attention out here. Then you get these guys. Before I even go to main man, look at this, man. They're trying to convince you. This is Bukele, right? They want you to believe that this is the formula because it happened over there. If you don't impeach the corrupt judges, you cannot fix the country. They will form a cartel, a judicial dictatorship, and block all reforms protecting the systemic corruption that put them in the seats. Now, this is somewhat correct. That's because we're not involved, because in order for that federal judge to be a federal judge, he or she has to be a lawyer or judge first. Then they get appointed. They get appointed by a president. But they got to be lawyers or judges first. In order to be a judge on a lower level, you got to get voted in. That's based on your history as an attorney. If the general public is involved civically on a local level, we get solid judges from the local level that work their way up to do federal cases because they've been solid and using the Constitution as their litmus test, not their politics. But we're not involved on a local level because we're chasing all of this federal shit. Then when it gets crazy on a federal level, because federal judges keep that job until they retire or until they die, right? Unless they get impeached. And there is a process for impeachment. But does the right-wing pundit tell you there's a process to impeach judges? No. Does the right-leaning extreme pundit tell you, hey, we still have an appellate situation and Trump has been winning all of these appealing of the decisions? No, they don't. Do they inform you about all of this stuff that you guys are learning right now, that all of this shit we go over in the civics class? No, you don't. No, they don't. They just say all of this extreme shit for the clicks that doesn't inform the moderate base of Americans that most Americans are. They're all in cahoots with the Democrats and the Republican parties. But you as the people need to be on their ass on a local level. Before they even become a lower court judge, you have a say in who votes them in on the lower level. Nah, man, I would never vote for Kamala Harris because she was a fucking prosecutor. That's it. That's the end of the conversation, right? No, she would have never been a judge or whatever, or the person, the AG. If I had something to say about it, because I would have voted against her. I would have definitely not voted for her for president. You're fucking the police. That's what you are. I don't fuck with the police. This isn't complicated. I respect everybody as a human. I think the job is corrupt now. Okay? So, we're not involved on a local level. Then when it gets high, then we say, throw the whole system away. You sound like a fucking Marxist. Then this guy says this, and then who reposted? Elon. And Elon says this stupid shit. If any judge anywhere can block everywhere, if any judge anywhere can block every presidential order everywhere. We do not have a democracy. We have tyranny of the judiciary. He quote posted this. First of all, Elon, maybe you didn't fucking learn this in South Africa. You were immigrant yourself, and cool the fuck out. Relax, champ, because you still ain't got rid of tweet cred off of X. And you've been talking about you going to get that off the code since you were forced into the buy them how years ago, 2 years ago. So pump your motherfucking brakes, geek. Okay, Dort, cool down a bit. First of all, Mr. 14 baby mamas. First of all, judges have the ability to be impeached, just like presidents do. Okay? You can impeach a federal judge. There's a process for that. That's one. Mr. People on the right trust the process. Mr. Elon Musk. Mr. Reposting all of the extreme right-wing bigoted bullshit. Right? Mr. Show up at the White House with the black eye. If you know, you know. Trump is in the Epstein list. Psych, we're friends again for Charlie. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. You saying this shit, first of all, Mr. South Africa. I don't know if they taught you that in South Africa. And I like South Africa. I've been to Cape Town myself years ago. The beaches look better than Hawaii. Okay? But Mr. South Africa's out here talking about we got a democracy. We don't live in a fucking democracy. America was by design structured as a constitutional republic, you fucking mope. See, you loud and you wrong, but you rich, so people gonna let you wealthy, so people gonna not call that. People on the right gonna dick ride. Let a leftist has said our democracy. You would have been like, we don't live in a democracy, you fucking moron, because we don't. But because you Elon, everybody gonna dick ride. That's why everybody, except Maj, is wrong. You solutionary, you right. You not solutionary, you wrong. Elon got 14 baby mamas. Trump got 5 baby mamas. I don't know. But we conservative though, right? See, y'all get mad at me, not the solutionaries in the show tonight, for sure, but the general public. A lot of goofballs get a little nervous by me because I'm going to make you maintain that standard. I'm going to hold that motherfucking mirror up to you. You conservative? Culturally? Politically? Oh, that's what's up. See, when you got a libertarian, a solutionary in the room, you're going to make better Democrats and better Republicans. Okay? So when I say shit like this, Elon, Mr. Tweet Cred, we don't live in a democracy. I don't got to dick ride none of you people. I don't fucking like none of y'all. I like solutionaries. I don't like nobody else. I don't like, if you're not a solutionary, I don't like you. What you gonna do? What you gonna do to me? You see my shoulders? I do 556 squats a day. I will mule kick you in your forehead, chunk a section off. Stop it. Okay? These people just be saying stuff. And y'all as solutionaries got to start calling these people out, checking them. Going, that's not, or even better, call them out a little bit, but inform and empower yourself so you can inform others. Y'all, the show tonight was damn near a civics class. The show was damn near a civics class. You're talking about, we do not have a democracy. We have tyranny of the judiciary. You got an appeal. Trump has been winning the appeals on this. There's a road, because I'm not saying he's all the way wrong for the National Guard shit. You just got to present the story right. And it can't be because Trump said so. Fuck no. You got to package it right. But if your packaging is, I want to convince the right to advocate for a one world government slowly over time because I'm the guy that can get them as a cult leader to get them to follow. And I like Trump. This ain't Trump derangement syndrome. I got a 2-race solutionary syndrome. Okay? So you talking about a democracy in a constitutional republic, getting people to back things that are in violation using, and we all know Qatar and the Jewish people, everybody paying the influencers to speak their language, Y'all getting them to say all these rights extreme, yeah, get the right to agree to eroding the Constitution and eroding the systems of checks and balances. Meanwhile, the black dude, right, when slavery was popping back then, the black dude got to show up and be like, hey, this ain't what the fucking founders wrote down. This is disgusting to me that arguably one of the wealthiest men in the world says this on a platform. He got 200 million followers, and he says America, where he immigrated to. And I need to check your status too, brother. I need to check your status, Mr. Look like you might be from Germany here lately. Okay? But you got one of the most wealthiest men on the planet calling America a democracy. And ain't none of them damn pundits said nothing about it because they meat gobblers. They Trump and Elon's favorite eaters. Favorite eaters. Ain't teaching the people nothing. Ain't trying to unify America. Where's the unification? When most of America is moderate. Y'all tell me, maybe I'm wrong. Somebody seen him call him out? Because I ain't see it. I ain't see it at all. Let me tell y'all something about me. And we'll wrap up here, y'all. Guys, givesingo.com/solutionary. Support the work if you got some value from the show tonight. Repost it all over the space. If you're watching on X, repost it. But I'm going to tell y'all like this. Everybody's wrong. Everybody's wrong. The unlawful immigrants to America are wrong. Not because I think that humans should not be able to move freely. No. I'm far too intelligent and articulate to not say that part of the sentence. I don't think they're wrong because humans should not be able to move about freely. I think they're wrong because currently the rights are not being reciprocated, and the Congress themselves has not streamlined the process for lawful immigration in America. And similar to late year Murray Rothbard, I know that we cannot have open borders in a welfare state. And we do have a welfare state right now. We do. So the unlawful immigration to America, you are unlawful immigrant, you wrong. Yeah, I'm not on your fucking side. Sorry. Got to get to the back of the line, bro. The black people been standing in this fucking line for a minute. Some of us, a lot of us, we're born here and work hard as shit. That's why you see people in Chicago going, yeah, I'm not cool. They fucking the jobs up. And I get it. It's not an attack. It's not xenophobia. No, I'm not Xena the fucking warrior princess. I don't know. This ain't xenophobia. No, this is you're unlawful. And for these reasons, here's why I disagree. That does not make you less than a human. That does not mean I'm going to treat you with disrespect. No, that's my perspective. So you're fucking wrong. If you're Brandon Johnson, you're arguing that, oh yeah, Trump is, and I'm going to defend the people of Chicago. Brandon, shut the fuck up. Let's go, Brandon. Shut up. Okay? You're wrong because of the fact that you're not doing it to defend the actual citizens and your constituents in the city of Chicago. You're doing it as a thumb your nose up to the Trump administration, not even evaluating the constitutionality or they're not of this legislation that you're saying. And to be perfectly honest, it's going to get challenged in court. It's going to get fucking overturned. That's the way that it looks. So you wrong too, Brandon Johnson and your Democratic ilk. And the Republicans on the right, especially the pundits that just out here yelling, just saying shit, just not informing the people, not recognizing that you do have a path to a win here, but that is in alignment with articulating it in a way that the moderate people that want to understand and learn more can do that. No, you want to advocate for burning down the system of checks and balances while you pretend like you're a fucking conservative. Conservative means you conserve founding documents, principles, way of life. You maintain a standard. So you're fucking wrong too. All of y'all are fucking wrong. And as far as me, this how I feel.
Hookah, cigarettes, cigars. I'm with all the smoke, nigga. Hookah, cigarettes, cigars. I'm with all the smoke, nigga.
I want the smoke from all of y'all. Because y'all all wrong. because you ain't well-rounded, because you ain't a motherfucking solutionary. I want to smoke with whoever. Call out whoever I said. I'll smoke everybody boots. Thank y'all for tapping in tonight. It's been a lovely time. I missed y'all this weekend. Mwah, mwah. Y'all know y'all make my day. Coming in here, chopping it up with y'all, giving a little education. Support the work, guys. GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. I'm going to ask you all to do a huge thing. Go to that website. Support the work. We are 26 days away from our fundraising ending. 26 days is all we got left. We need about 454 more donors at the $100 level. Give what you can. GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. That means firearms basics, civics, stop the bleed. Every class that's been free to all over the last however many years has been because of your voluntary support. And now we're going to ask everybody to support. Give, and if you can't, give it the $100 level. If you can, give it the $100 level. If you give it the $100 level, you get access to all of those classes, the civics class, understanding imminent threat, firearms basics. You get all of those video modules. Those modules come directly to you. You watch them at your leisure. It's like you got a bunch of movies on from Amazon. They're yours forever. Okay? When that happens, you get the curriculums as well as with the videos. Inbox. You get access to our private community. We sharpen each other in that community. Okay? Meal plans, macros, workout routines, shooting drills, all of those things for paying it forward to help us buy our Solutionary Center, as well as, yes, you can. Kymer Shadow says, can I donate on behalf of a friend? Yes, you can. Donate, and when you go to GiveSendGo.com/solutionary, just type that, and I'm going to have your email. So you got to put your email in, and I'll just communicate with you, and you can give the access to that person. You'll give me their email, and I'll give the access to them. Yeah, but put that in your donor comment when you donate. So everybody that donates, let's see if we can get 10 people tonight. That's $1,000. 10 people to go to GiveSendGo.com/solutionary and donate towards the work. That's $1,000. We need 450, I want to say 52 actually. 452 more donors at the $100 level, and we're done. Okay? That's what we need. So I'm going to ask everybody to support. Let's see if we can get 10 folks to do that. Yes, you can donate, and for somebody else, just put that in the donor comment. Yo, Maj, I donated. I got it from my homie. Check your email, But I'll get your email immediately as soon as you send it. It's actually on this phone right here. Maybe one of y'all will donate, and I'll give y'all a shout out as I'm doing it. Somebody just got a class. Somebody just bought a class to understanding imminent threat. Now, here's this other thing. This is what I want y'all to do too. Everybody that if you can't donate at $100, right? Everybody that donates $25 or more, I'm going to still have your email. When I have your email, it's going to be me, not a bot. I'm going to send you an email saying, yo, what class you want access to? Civics, understanding imminent threat, or firearms basics. Everybody that donates $25 or more, I'm going to give you a class. You donate $100 or more, you get all of this stuff. You donate $25 or more, I'm going to give you a class. We have to fundraise towards the work. These conversations are important. We talk in these shows to make sure we're communicating with you guys so you guys can have solid talking points and good information so you're not getting the bullshit from the right and getting the bullshit from the left and you don't got an arsenal to shoot back, okay? That's what the shows are for. But the actual work of building our communities by informing people, civics, firearms basics, stop the bleed, all of those things that are real world transformative information, that's what we need your financial support for. It's a few hundred of y'all watching tonight. I'm so proud to. I was looking at the Kevin Hart, Drewski joint. They had 500,000 people in the joint, and I was like, man, I can't wait to get to that point. But right now, I'm appreciative of every single one of you few hundred. It's like 300 and some of y'all in here. Super appreciative for every single one of you, and you guys make this situation move forward. GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. Everybody, pitch in. $25 or more, I'm going to do this for the next 3 hours, 3.5 hours, right? Everybody that donates, $25 or more, I'm going to go back and forth with you. You pick the class that you want, I got you. Everybody at the $100 level, I'm going to set you up, onboard you for Solutionary University. You get access to all of the classes and all of the other perks that come along with that university enrollment. Thanks, guys. GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. I will talk to you all tomorrow, same time, same channel. Share this space all over the place on the platform that you're watching it on. Be safe, be solutionary.